dude. And if it's not, it's just waste. And I can capitalize on that waste and use it for good.
Going back to what you said earlier, where you said that, you could move your own token thousands of percent versus like maybe 10% for Bitcoin. I mean, why does that really matter? I think back to the start of this podcast where, you said that you want to spend your time actually doing things that matter. And you did also go on to say that this project does that. But when you say that all of the OGs will eventually have their own tokens because of that, shouldn't they only be doing that? Or like, if it actually has some benefit to society, why do it just because of the percentages on a screen or in your wallet or what your net worth is? That's not really what's important, right? It's to actually find things that can provide value.
The vast majority of human beings, the percentage of people that are operating at like a social consciousness level, it's like 0.01%. If your cup isn't full, it's very hard to fill up other people's cups. So very few people transition out of the needs of the persona of the individual. And it's an easy trap to fall into. And I got to tell you, trying to do good works in the public is very unrewarding. Half the people will tell you you're a piece of shit. You want to save lives? The world's already too full. You want to stop this disease? Well, what about that disease? My family died from that disease. Why don't you fucking work on that? Right? So like I tried this when I first retired. I tried to volunteer for the Sens Foundation and do video for them and, promote their stuff. And you basically are told by most people to fuck yourself. Like they actually dislike it. So it's extremely unrewarding and hard. It's just like writing a book. I wrote a 471-page book outline full of most of the good ideas I've ever had. And it hasn't made much impact because it needs rewritten, split into multiple books, marketed, all this stuff. It's like if I have, when my token does well, which it will, I'm going to hire a team of writers to split my book up and fix it up because it's very close to done. It just needs maybe 6 months of editing, right? So if I can put on 4 or 5 guys to do that, maybe drop $500,000 on it, how many book writers get to drop $500,000 on a team to write a good book? It's exceptional. And it's not something I'm comfortable doing now, but it is something I'd be comfortable doing once CFD token takes off, right? So with me, it's just like Vitalik Buterin. Before crypto got hot and I was just a holder, I was working on trying to save my own life and my family's life and my dog's life by getting people to invest in the science that might save them. There's no higher cause. You're all going to need it. Every single one of you guys that doesn't get hit by a train is going to need medicine. That medicine can be worse or it can be better. And if you're smart and you invest early, it can be better. You could be stupid like Steve Jobs and die very rich very early because you didn't invest in the tech to save yourself. Or you can do the right thing and invest in the tech to save yourself. It'll be there when you need it and you'll get rich the whole way. You don't have to get rich.
But you don't know what's eventually going to, what eventually is going to cause your life to come to an end. There are so many things out there that could be your undoing. You can't just be rich and try and solve all of them before that gets there. Like part of being alive is that you die.
Today. So like first, there's an entire industry that makes billions and billions of dollars every year that knows exactly when a person like you is going to die and of what. It's called the insurance industry. And you can cross off, there's an actuarial table called the predicted life extension by elimination of cause of death. And you can cross off cancer, right? 40% of human beings die of cancer. Now I'm going to tell you something most people don't know. What happens, how much longer do you think people would live if you cured cancer? In years.
Probably not that much longer. I imagine it would only shift like a few years.
Wow. That's an amazingly smart answer. No one gets that. It's 3 years because the next thing kills your ass.
I crunch numbers for a living, by the way.
Real good. No one gets that one, dude. You crushed it. I mean, the best guess I get is 5 years usually. So a few years is a very fucking good guess. The next thing gets you because you're a decaying system. So 40% of people die from heart attack. Okay. Well, what if you cured heart disease? You get 3 fucking years. Now, for some reason, mathematically, if you cross off more than one of them at once, they add up to more than 3 plus 3. They add up to 7. So if you get rid of heart disease and cancer, you live 7 years. Well, what the fuck? If I'm only going to get 3 years from curing cancer, why wouldn't we just try to get 3 years some other way? Through diet or metformin or sirtuins or like anything that could give you 3 years through habit or medical intervention is better than curing cancer. But people spend all their money trying to cure cancer when it is maximally only worth 3 years no matter what you do. That means that the whole medical system is misinvesting its money, because the best thing they could possibly cure cancer is only worth 3 fucking years. I don't want 3 years. I want more than 3 years. Well, by my diet, it appears I want -3 years, right? So like,
I think it's a little bit different though, because I think that when we look at things as a society, what we especially hate are things that are unfair. And it's unfair when someone has cancer that can't be cured and dies. So I think maybe it isn't just, maximally best for society, which I think you really like viewing life as like, or reading decisions like that. I think it might be what's the most fair to people that has happened to us or moved us and that we want to solve. And I think that a lot of people have seen people get cancer and have to go through that whole process, and then a lot of them pass away, and they think that that sucked, and they want to do something to fix that for the future, not because it's the actual best possible way we could spend money to increase life expectancy.
Yeah, well, what you've described in risk management is called hazard versus outrage. So human beings care a lot about things that are outrageous, like terrorists blowing up airplanes. But they care a lot less about things which are much more hazardous, swimming pools. Swimming pools kill more people every year than terrorists. But you don't see a big fucking push on television to put more fences around swimming pools, right?
It doesn't fit the narrative.
Exactly. So the more that you can overcome your, like, for instance, the reason I'm fat is because, one, food tastes good, and two, my body is built for a time when calories were scarce. So I'm running a very effective program for 100 years ago, right?
That's the nicest way of saying you're fat I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm running a really effective program, but just for 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm kicking ass 100 years ago.
You are doing a good job.
But now I'm not. This is the wrong strategy because times have changed. It's the same with road rage. If a guy cuts you off in traffic and you want to kill him and everyone he's ever known and anyone that's ever lent him money and just kill them all, that was an effective strategy when we traveled in small groups of people. You'd only have to do that once and then you wouldn't get fucked with again. But now we live in these societies that are so large that if you socially do the thing that worked in the small system and fuck up that guy, you have to fuck up the next guy too. You don't get any profit from it. You'll spend all day fucking people up and you'll never run into the person that treats you better because you did that, right? So if you can transition from the systems that used to work into the systems that do work now, you're going to lead a happier, healthier, longer, more effective, more less stressful life. And it's a hard game. It's a habit. So emotional fitness is a habit. You have to do it every day. Physical fitness is a habit. You have to do it every day. And when you stop doing it, you become unfit, period. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm like searching for shirts I still fit into. Thanks, Bitcoin price.